Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who've been watching lately, I've been working on a little CB100 motorbike. This weekend that's had to be put on hold. I think I have said before on the channel that the camper van, my bus, is currently in the garage. Unfortunately the work's not been able to be done yet because it's so busy in that garage that I go to. A really popular garage. It's called EMS. It's in Cooper. I can't praise the guys enough. They always get the work done. It's just trying to fit it in amongst the workload. So, given the fact that I need a set of wheels for next week, due to work commitments, I've decided to take the BMW that I'm currently sitting in. It's a little BMW 316 Ti. It's a compact. So I've taken that out of the storage, and obviously it's sitting with no MOT at the moment. So taking it out of storage because it's booked in for its MOT, and I need to get the brake pads fitted on the rear. I've got the brake pads here. Just went to DNA Motor Factors through in Cooper. Picked these up today. They weren't very expensive. I think it's just rear pads that we need. And they came to a total of £20.47. So I'm going to get the car in the air today, get these pads fitted. I don't think it's too much of an issue to get them fitted. But that's basically my day. It's going to be taken up, get these pads on to start with. The battery is totally pancaked. There's no ignition at all. Couldn't even get the boot open. I don't know if any of you know, but the battery on these isn't in the bonnet engine bay. It's currently, well, it's actually fitted from factory. So it's fitted inside the boot, just next to sort of where the spare tyre would be. I'll let you see that in a photograph. But basically, I'm going to have to remove the battery, put that on a proper overnight charge. I had to get it jumped to get the car moving today, which is a bit difficult when you can't open the boot. So we had the leads basically coming out this door to my dad's BMW that he's got. He's got a BMW X3. So we jumped it from that, got it started, got it down here. The brakes sound terrible. I don't know how long it's been off the road, probably 6 months. Yeah, definitely sort of storing a vehicle in a like basically just a basic lockup with no heating and everything. It's no advisable, guys. I know a lot of you think they can get maybe an investment vehicle, pop it away, keep it for a few years, the value will increase. And you know, I had every intentions of just keeping this little BMW because it's a BMW. I've always wanted one. I've loved it for 4.5 years of ownership. It's the longest I've ever kept one vehicle for. But it's just not doing it any favours being in there. As I've since found out. So the tyres are losing pressure, the battery's obviously gone flat, and do you know what, it's not getting taken care of, it's just getting left and ignored. So the whole car's going to need a full valet for tomorrow as well. It was put away in the condition that it was left in, so my wife's left some rubbish in the door card at her side and stuff like that. I've got one of my old leather jackets sitting here just discarded. I've been looking for that, didn't know it was in there. And do you know what, it's just a case of like getting it ready, getting it prepped, getting it down for an MOT, and sort of starting using it for a wee while, until I get my bus back at the very least. When I get the bus back, I think since this will be back on the road, it'll be all polished up again in prime condition. Then I'll probably consider just listing it for sale, because you can only drive one thing at a time, right? I know probably a lot of viewers will be like, no, you can have more than one vehicle, but I live and work in the same town, hardly ever drive really. It's just for like leisure purposes, which is why I've got the bus. So that's why this was mothballed kind of thing. So yeah, that's my day, guys. So hope you join me for it. Let's get the vehicle in the air. Right guys, so this is what I'm saying, the battery here in the back there. Yeah, I mean, it's a great idea. It saves space in the front of these, and I think the design's actually been for vehicles with bigger engines. This is only a 1.8 petrol, but what you've got to bear in mind is this model of car, and I'll let you see what it looks like. There we are. Lovely little car. Always liked it. I mean, it's not been on in years now. It's 20-year-old, maybe going on to 21 this year. But yeah, as good as it is, the design's probably been because these cars actually came with, I'll turn you around here. These cars actually came with a 2.5 litre in some of them. Obviously that was the quick one, the more desirable one. They had leather seats and stuff. This is probably, I'm not sure if it's the base model, but it's not far off it. And as much as I've enjoyed having it, it does need a bit of work now. So in the sense of valeting it and that, and getting it prepped for another bit of use. But yeah, ultimately, aiming to get this sold. So hopefully I'll just be using it again for another couple of weeks, and then I'll get it advertised. But you can see there in the boot, we've got the jack and stuff there. I've not actually got a trolley jack here, so I'll just be using the vehicle's own standard equipment. And then I'll get some tools out that I'll need. Probably need a wind back tool and that as well, which I've got in my shed, for winding the calipers back. I'm going to talk you through the process of changing pads step by step. Understand that, yeah, a lot of people can just jack the car up, do the pads, no problem. But there is also the younger generation that have never had that opportunity. And I hope that this video will probably help them sort of take on some of the smaller tasks, such as changing pads. It's something that I've always taken on myself. And you know, it saves you a bit of money from having to go to the garage. Obviously you can still go to the garage like myself for some of the bigger jobs. It's peace of mind really, although I can change timing belts and stuff. The peace of mind of having a garage doing it is probably better, and it's worth the money spent. But for brake pads, let's just get this done. So I'm just going to start with the basics first, guys. First thing that you have to do is obviously loosen the wheel bolts. It might be common sense to some of you, but the amount of times I've jacked the car up and thought, stupid me, I should have cracked these wheel bolts initially. So you need to look out the locking wheel nut. Excuse me. Should be one wheel nut in each wheel with a locking nut on it, just to stop the alloys and expensive tyres getting stolen. So you'll have a locking wheel nut like that, it's kind of splined. Then you've got your wheel brace here like that. It's quite easy to use, you just put it on the nut. You've got a bit of force there with this design with the handle. So yeah, we'll get that done first, get the wheel cracked, and then we'll get it in the air, remove the wheel, and we'll take it from there. Right guys, here we are, and I know it's quite embarrassing that my wheels are in such poor condition here. They've not been cleaned for quite a long time. So I did forget that the locking wheel nut's got a plastic cover on. So we need to get something that we can pull at that. I'll maybe get it off with the wheel brace actually. There we are. So it's just a little plastic cover that pops on. It simulates a nut on the end of it. Basically it's just to protect the locking nut here from corrosion. Then your wee tool just goes in, just like that. Make sure it's fully seated. And then you can put your wheel brace on. Try not to let it fall out. And then, it's tighter than I thought it would be actually. There we are. So we're just going to remove the locking wheel nut fully. And then we'll crack the rest of the bolts and start jacking it up. Right guys, so it's not really been going to plan. And I forgot to press record on the camera, what the idiot. But you can see all the rust in here. And this, it's showing signs that it's aged now guys, but definitely needed the pads. I've got the pads here, that's them taken out. So this is the one that takes a wee sensor. So the sensor gets slips into this wee slot here. And I'll let you see that guys. This is what the sensor looks like, and I've cleaned it up a wee bit. There is a wee retainer clip there, so you slide that into that pad there, and then when your pads get low, essentially what its purpose is to put up a warning light on the dashboard there. So we've had a wee bit of a problem getting the caliper piston back in. That's that there. So what I did was I just hung it back on the disc there, put an old pad at the back, and then I just got a screwdriver in. Used it as a wee bit of a lever against the pad, and just brought the wee bit of pressure there just to bring the piston back inside the caliper. So the next task there we've got to do, we've got to try and fit the new pads. So I'm going to sit you up here guys, and I'll do a bit of recording now because obviously We're wobbling everywhere. I need to lock that up. Right, obviously now that we've got to get the new pads in, this is the new pads here, guys, all in all their glory. So we'll get them out the packet. The one that goes at the front is this one because it's not got the metal clip thing, and the one that goes at the back is this one because it's got the metal clip, and that metal clip simply just seats inside the piston. But when you put it there, you've obviously got to make sure that you've clipped in your brake sensor there as well. So what we'll do is we'll just pull this caliper back out of position here, and we'll feed the sensor through the back of the caliper just like that. Now my issue is that there's nothing really holding this caliper in place, and it falls quite easily. So we'll get this sensor just pressed into place, so it should just squeeze in here and clip into place. That possibly doing that on the wrong side. Yes, I am. So it just goes in like this. I'm going to let you see that close up. Just sits in there, and you can see the depth of these brake pads there. A lot of beef on them. I'm not sure how long they'll last, but certainly longer than these ones would have. So definitely worth doing this. So there, we'll just pop that clip into the piston. It's easier said than done, guys, because it's obviously it's a sprung clip, and I'm on camera here, and I just can't do it. So give us a minute. And I think I always have to tell myself, and it's worth remembering when you're doing stuff like this, if it was easy, I mean it is quite easy, but if it was simple, then everybody would do it, and garages wouldn't make any money. So right, there's that one in place. I'm hoping it's showing up on camera. That's how it should look, and that's the sensor cable just coming through the back there. Now I could be a wee bit more careful with, not careful, but I could take a wee bit more pride, I should say, in this. And I see a lot of people, probably younger boy racer types, but they'll paint this bracket after a little bit of work, like maybe red, and they'll do the calipers red, and then they'll put on a little vinyl sticker saying BMW or M Sport or some stupid stuff like that. It's no for me. I'm quite happy if the mechanics work. But yeah, it's a similar job if you wanted to just paint your calipers, let's be honest. Right, so we're just going to hang this up here while I get the other pad ready. I've neglected to take the pad out. I put the old pad in there, like I said, just to use as leverage. Forgot to remove it. Right, so there, that just sitting like that. This is the other pad here. And the orientation, it's pretty simple. There's two wee lugs that goes on the sliders, and it's maybe a good idea also just to put a wee bit of grease in there where the caliper, where the pads slide up and down. So I'm yet to find out if I've got this pushed back enough, the piston here, and it doesn't. No, it does actually. So they say it doesn't look like it, but they've popped in perfectly. So I'll let you see how it looks assembled. That's basically it. And you can see the discs aren't in the best of wear, but that's because this car's been sitting for quite some time. So hopefully on the way to the MOT centre we'll get a wee bit of shine back to these discs. Another thing to note that I forgot to film, you can see a wee bit of damage there. So what happened is the wheel stuck onto the hub, and that's where I put a screwdriver just between the wheel and the hub just to try and get it freed. I also got the old, not sponsored by the way, WD-40, and I gave that a wee spray just down the back. You can see that's looking a wee bit wet. It just helps to free off the wheel. And then I got an old hammer and I just gave it a wee tap at the back. Just one of these things that everybody comes across every now and again when they're working on cars. But so the next thing to do here is, once these pads are in, you've got these wee retainer pins. I think that's what they're called, the locking pins, and they go in the back here and they just slide in, and then they screw in with an Allen key, this one here, and I think it's a 7mm, let me just check that. Yep, and it's a 7mm Allen head, and it goes in, and it's quite hard to get a ratchet into the back of it because you've got the shock absorber there, but you can hand tight it until it's in enough that you can get your ratchet in. And you just get a wee narrow head ratchet like that, and you can get that in just to beef it up. So I'll put you down here and I'll get the other one in, because there's one at the top of the caliper and one at the bottom. Just the same pin, just exactly the same. And it's trying to get these lined up with the holes. Make sure the thread in. And remember, when you're working on anything, make sure not to cross thread anything. So that one seems to have caught its thread anyway. Not sure about this top one, it's not seeming to catch. We'll get there though, guys. Right, that's them both caught in now. So I'm just going to hand tighten them and then beef them up, and then I'll show you the spring that it's like a retainer spring. It goes on the front here. So we'll hand tighten these just now. And like I say, once you get to a certain point, I'm not sure honestly if I'm going to get the ratchet into that, because obviously the caliper's moved a bit. Oh, let's just check it. I mean, we should get it in. Yeah, we can get it in fine, guys. So you just pop that in there and you're able to just beef it up a bit. Now, not too tight, because you still want to be able to get them off the next time. Right, like I say, I'm going to have to hand tighten that bottom one as well, guys, before I can get that ratchet in. But doesn't take too long. While I had this all apart, I can see some corrosion all over the place, like the bottom of these shockeys and stuff. The car is starting to need some love. Right, so the retainer clip that we've talked about, let me just find it and let you see that. Don't know where I put it. There we are. Right, so this is a retainer clip here, and what that does, you pop that in there. The arms go either side of the bracket there, that's the caliper bracket, and these two wee legs, they fit in the holes of the actual caliper, and it's just to keep it in place really, alongside these bolts. But as you can see, it's looking quite messed up with rust. I'm just going to get a little wire brush and give it a wee clean. And then I'm going to turn the camera off, and I'm going to go and get a wee bit of grease, just a wee bit of copper grease, just to put in where the pads actually slide. Another thing worth mentioning, guys, is when you're working on brakes, don't breathe in the dust. I don't think it's, I mean, I don't know what it is, but I think it's like a carbon dust that you certainly don't want to be breathing into your lungs. Right, so I think I'll just fit this in now. Getting it in can be a bit tricky, because getting it out certainly was. You need to get a wee bit of push on this spring. I think maybe better doing the top section first, because that just pops in there on a wee tooth. And I'll get a wee screwdriver just to pop it in place, just like that, and then just to make sure These arms are in place, and that's it there, guys. That's it all together. I'm gonna let you see that. So, like I say, I'm gonna go and get some copper slip just to put in, there where the on the slides. But for now, that's one side done. We'll get this all buttoned up and crack on with the other side. Right, guys, so that's one side of the brakes done. The issues that I've come across today with this car: battery was flat, could not get the wheel off the hub. Didn't film that part, although I tried to. I've obviously just not hit the button right. But basically, what I had to do was get round the back of it, hammer around the edge of the rim, nylon mallet, you don't want to damage the alloy. Sprayed a little bit of WD-40 down there in between where the wheel sits on the hub. Eventually we got it removed. We also had a little bit of problems with on the rear brake pad. There's a brake sensor, so we got a wee nylon brush, carefully cleaned it off. Obviously you don't want to breathe in any of that brake dust. So yeah, we cleaned that off, and then I figured out that you just basically slide the sensor from the pad. I had a look at the new pad just to see that it had the slot for the sensor to go into before I proceeded. But yeah, basically one side's done, and I'm not going to bother recording the other side because it's exactly the same as what we've just done. So we'll end the video here. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.